I'm going to ask everybody to indulge me for a second. I want to play you something, but before I do, I want to issue with a warning that it's going to be distressing for some of you.
Talk about activity of those people. There will be always, yes, it is freedom of speech, but. And the turning point is but. Why do we still say but when we...
That is the audio from the Copenhagen shooting. And the shooter chose chillingly the moment to let loose a volley of shots just as the speaker was making the point that when people pretend to defend freedom of speech, they caveat it with the word but. And he decided to choose that moment to let off the shots. He then went, as we all know, to a synagogue and killed some innocent Jewish people. Before that, it was in France at the kosher shop. And before that, it was in Belgium at the museum. They had security outside the cafe. They had close protection for the cartoonist. And yet, despite that, this incident occurred. It could just as easily occur in London. It could occur here at this very synagogue. And the sheer fact that all of you are here this evening is a testament to your own bravery, to your own courage, to your own determination, to refuse to cower in the face of this terrorism and to say, by voting with your actions and your feet, never again. Because something we learnt after the rise of Nazism in Germany was of the danger of the banality of evil. What we learnt is that if we allow ourselves to sleepwalk into an atmosphere in which people feel uncomfortable to speak their minds, in which people are slowly taken out, group by group, one by one, and this sort of obfuscation that we just heard is used. Instead of calling a spade, people say it's not anti-Semitism, it's community tension. It's not about freedom of speech, but if we allow ourselves to sleepwalk into that climate without standing firm and strong and drawing a line in the sand and refusing to be coward, then before we know it, it will be too late. If in Europe today people are speaking in synagogues or in cafes or in libraries and they're talking about freedom of speech as the subject, and they feel scared to even enter the hall because they're worried that somebody's going to attack them merely for speaking, then I'd argue that that is a level of crisis point. We have to draw a line in the sand. The very foundation of democracy, it rests upon a few points. One of them is the right to express yourself, because without the right to express yourself, you cannot campaign for the political party you represent, you cannot go and vote for the party of your choice, You cannot hold those in authority above us to account for their mistakes. And then secondly, to protect the minorities. We must judge the worth, the merit of any society by how much it protects those who are the most vulnerable within it. The solution isn't to leave Europe. Europe is your home. You belong here as much as everybody else, and if anyone on this panel has anything to do with it, we will continue to say never again. Because we know the consequences of what happens if we allow that line in the sand to shift.
The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam.